5-star weapon, notoriously known as the wallet killer, where at a certain point in your Genshin career you will undoubtedly suffer from amnesia due to losing 3 pity in order to get the correct weapon you want 5 times straight. While at least Hoyoverse decided to give us a pity system to actually have the real chance of attaining our desired 5-star weapons, otherwise who knows when we'll get it, right? Now 5-star weapons, especially for free-to-play players, have never been considered as something that is a must get throughout your gameplay. Well, that is true to a certain extent because it will cost you a lot of primo gems to get the 5-star weapons, and the normal weapons are usually already good enough to get you through the game. However, to this point in time, there are certain 5-star weapons that would really worth your dime if you are able to save up and go for it, and you will feel your quality of life on your character change a ton by using these weapons, which is why today we have our video listing out the top 5 best 5-star weapons that you would not regret investing in. Now guys, it is now the start of August, meaning that our Discord monthly giveaway is opened once again. If you want to have the chance to save more primo gems to pull for upcoming Denreal characters, then be sure to subscribe to my channel and enter the giveaway on my Discord. We're giving out more welcomes this month than usual, so I'm sure your chance of winning is pretty high. Link to Discord in the description, guys. And with that, let's just dive right in. Now, in order to know whether a 5-star weapon is really worth it for you to invest in terms of meta level, I'm not speaking of aesthetic level, guys, otherwise it will just come down to whether you love the look or not. In terms of meta wise, there are 3 things you can look into. First one, which is also the most important, is that can it be widely used by many characters, or is it more of a niche weapon type? Now generally, weapon can already be widely used by many characters of the same weapon type because of course you can just equip it to anyone, but whether the weapon works for that specific character or not is another matter. For example, weapon that have physical damage as a secondary stat isn't the best use on character that focuses on using elemental damage, or DPS character that don't tend to use energy recharge weapon. However, there are certain weapons that can be held by any characters and they would do absolutely well, and those would be the weapons that go on the list we talk about here in today's video. Secondly, is the weapon passive easy to proc? This is also important because, as you know, weapon passive usually is very important, or if not, sometimes are more important than the secondary stat that it gives. So the ease of you being able to trigger the weapon passive and how good it will be is crucial for you to keep in mind. Like the Polar Star, for example, requires you a lot of condition in order to get the maximum stack, or the Kagura requires you 3 times E skill trigger to get the maximum buff, yet most Catalyst user can only use 2 E skill at a time. And then thirdly, secondary stats prioritization is important. Overall, the stats you want to look for when building a DPS or generally a sub DPS character would be from crit to attack percentage to EM to energy recharge to HP and then to defense. And then for general support character, it will be from energy recharge to crit rate to EM to attack percentage to HP and defense. Now support characters are usually harder to specify the exact priority stats because the stats in which they scale with depends on the character, like Kokomi and Yelan who scales off of HP, or a Nemo character who runs with EM many of the time. But you already kind of know the drill, so focus on the stats that works best for your character. And so you now know the 3 most important things about choosing the right weapon. Now let's get into our top 5 best 5-star weapon till this point in time, and this is going to be my personal choosing, of course. If you do have any better weapon you feel that deserved a spot on our top 5 listing, do let me know down in the comment section. Oh, and also I'll cross out the usual standard 5-star weapons because those weapons you don't usually have to force yourself into pulling, as you can get them through luck during your playthrough. And so first in line we have the Mist Splitter, one of my most favorite limited 5-star up to date from both design to how good it performs on most character. What Mispliter does is that it gives you a 674 basic attack, which is still one of the highest in the game, plus a 44% crit damage. That alone is already very good as considered from the stat prioritization we discussed above. Not only that, the weapon passive is also one of the best in the game as you're having the ability to get up to 40% elemental damage bonus, which is really good because elemental damage bonus is always considered to be one of the most important because generally it's harder start to acquire than normal attack percentage, which is why any weapon that gives elemental damage bonus is usually very good. The only thing with Mispliter is the ability for you to activate all of its stacks to get the most benefit, as missing even one stack can be quite a number difference. You're required to have your normal attack deal elemental damage bonus to get the first stacks, and you get the seconds from after using your burst, and the third from having your energy less than 100%. The toughest stacks to get is usually the normal attack to do elemental damage only, as of course not all characters have access to elemental damage normal attack. However, this sword is aimed for DPS character mostly, and luckily most of our DPS sword user at this point in time do have access to elemental damage, like Keqing, Ayaka, DPS Kaya, or even DPS Benny. Kaya can run with Chongyun for cryo damage, and Bennett once C6 can have pyro infused. Even so, due to the high base attack it gives, this sword is also one of, if not the best option for normal support Bennett, in which case with the current cast of sword user, most of the character you're using will be able to make use of this weapon very well. Next, we've got the Staff of Homa, the famous staff that most likely made Hoyoverse apply the pity system for weapon gacha after our Tectone incident. Either way, this weapon has been out for nearly 2 years and is still considered to be one of the most OP weapon in the game. First, we get a 608 base attack as normally for a 5-star weapon. However, the crit rate it gives is practically insane at 66% crit damage, in which you almost never have to worry about crit damage when holding the weapon. Passive, you get a 20% HP increase and a 0.8% attack increase based on max HP. If HP is below 50%, there will be an additional 1% increase. Now, the reason why this weapon is so good is not just because of the crit damage stats it gives, but also the amount of attack bonus you can have. This weapon is first made for Hu Tao, in which you literally becomes a beast when holding the weapon, making it just greatly better than all other options out there. But not only that, it can be used by almost every other character poem out there as well, as long as you aim to build them as a DPS, and usually it will be at least on the top 3 of the best weapon for those characters, as even though you're required to have HP below 50% for the maximum buff increase. However, even without the HP requirement met, the 0.8% increase on max HP is already very good that you don't have to worry about it most of the time. And looking at how good Staff of Homa still is right now, the chance of this weapon falling from its rank is long way away. So it would definitely be worth it for you to invest in this weapon when it does comes back. Thirdly, we have the Elegy. Not sure if you're surprised to see this weapon on the list. However, this in my opinion is currently the best support weapon in the game right now. It gives you 55% energy recharge, which would cover most of the energy requirement a support character would need, and of course a 608 base attack. Now, the reason why it is so good is from its passive, as a bow first gives the holder a 60 EM increase, and when either E skills or burst hit opponent up to 4 times, the whole team has an increase of 100 EM plus a 20% attack increase. Not just normal attack, but all attack increase, and this lasts for 12 seconds with a 20-second cooldown, so it's technically only an 8-second cooldown. With this weapon in use, it is as if you're having an extra support character in your team, and you will see a really good improvement in your team overall damage with this. Not to mention, the weapon passive can be activated by basically every support character in the game right now, making its use and worth grow even better. It's been a while since we last saw the weapon on the banner. However, if you do have gems to spare and want to invest in a good 5-star option, the Elegy will not disappoint. Fourth, we have the Jade Cutter, and just as beautiful as the name sounds, this sword is hands down one of the most beautiful looking sword out there along with Miss Splitter, but also insanely powerful and handy. It has the lowest base attack of 542, however everything of that is made up due to the 44% crit rate, an absurd amount of crit rate in which you basically never have to worry about crit rate when holding the weapon. While if you're making a sword that can slice up Jade, the crit rate at least should be insane, right? It's not just that, there will be a 20% HP increase and the wielder gets a 1.2% attack increase based on max HP as well. Obviously, this will first sound like a more of a benefit on HP scaling sword user, in which at this point I don't think there are anyone who is too specialized in that. However, due to the ease of this weapon's passive, it can be used by literally all sword user in the game right now, even for support character. If you want them to deal a bit of damage, you will just need to get the weapon, build it and snap it onto whichever character you would like to use, and voila, you will see a very good difference in how your character performs. And on our fifth option, we have the Engulfing Lightning, the amazing poem that absolutely fit the aesthetic of our lovely Raiden Shogun. However, even when it is made for her, it doesn't really mean that it can only be used for her. You're getting a base attack of 608 and a 55% energy recharge. However, the really good things comes during the passive, as you're getting your attack increased by 28% of your energy recharge. However, a maximum of 80% attack increase can be gained from this, which is technically required you up to 300% energy recharge, but obviously you won't need that much, as an attack increase of 50% is already very good, which is only 200 energy recharge. This weapon is fantastic for sub DPS character who generally wants a lot of energy recharge to get their burst constantly up and support you off field damage, because not only are you easily getting your desired energy recharge you need, but you're getting an attack bonus on top of your energy recharge. Things just work out in every way when you give this weapon to your character. Not to mention, this weapon tends to go along with the Emblem Fate set, which also increase your burst damage based on your energy recharge, creating you an insane support DPS character. Of course, it can be used for DPS character as well, because a 50% attack buff is already an equivalent of a secondary stats on most weapons. Now generally, the Engulfing Lightning isn't really considered because of the catch. The catch is definitely an amazing weapon that works a bit similar to the Engulfing Lightning, but then again you are having it on Xiangling many of the time, for example. So if you do have the Primo Gems to spare on the Engulfing Lightning and you love how it looks, having this weapon will not disappoint you for sure. As I've mentioned above, 5-star weapons aren't needed most of the time, but having it on your accounts does make the quality of life a lot better, especially when you invest in higher tier weapons. And I believe that the 5-star weapons we've just discussed would be a perfect fit for all of the accounts. Now talking about weapons, there will be a lot of new ones coming to Sumeru. And are you excited for Sumeru? If you are, then I believe the video where I go through the top 10 things to prepare for Sumeru will help you out a lot, as there are a bit of time before the region arrive. So be sure to check out the video right here. Again guys, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to not miss out on any of my future videos. With that, I wish you a super day and I will catch you on the next one.